everyone, it's me Pratima, and these are two of the best wireless earbuds for like 5 to 6,000 rupees in India right now, the OnePlus Buds 4 and the Realme Buds Air 7 Pro. But the real question is, which one's right for you? And if you look at the specs, you'll see that everything from their driver setup to audio codecs, connectivity, noise cancellation, and even battery life are pretty much the exact same. But don't worry, I'll help you figure all of that out, so make sure you stick till the end of this video for all the information. Oh, and by the way, I'll also be assigning points to them across a bunch of different categories so that you have an even better idea. Alright, so as always, I want to start with the design, and it's a little bit funny that both OnePlus and Realme decided to copy each other's last gen earbuds when designing their new ones, because the OnePlus Buds 4 now comes in this egg-shaped case like Realme's Buds Air 6 Pro, while the Air 7 Pro comes in this pill-shaped box case like last year's OnePlus Buds 3. I don't have a problem with either of them, to be honest, although I've got to give props to Realme for this metallic case because it feels a lot more premium than the Buds 4 basic plastic shell. It's even available with a leather-like finish, which is just awesome. And I also love how Realme redesigned their earbuds themselves this time. Yes, they both still have a stem-style earbuds like Apple's AirPods, but the Air 7 Pro finally upgrades to a flat stem instead of a cylindrical one. I've been bugging Realme about this for so long, since I always found using the touch controls on Realme's older earbuds to be quite unintuitive due to their shape, but that's no longer a problem now. Anyway, I had no problem with the fit and comfort with these earbuds. They both sit very snugly in my ears with soft silicone ear tips that I can pick and choose based on my comfort level. They're just as durable as well, with IP55 dust and water resistance for the earbuds. So while Realme does have a slight upper hand with its cold metal case, I think I'm more comfortable calling this round a tie. But don't worry, the OnePlus Buds 4 is a clear winner to me as far as the controls are concerned. Not only because of that groove thing I mentioned before, but also because of two important features that are simply missing on the Buds Air 7 Pro. Number one, it has a single tap control to play and pause music, while I need to double tap to stop whatever is playing on my Realme earbuds. And number two, the OnePlus Buds 4 swipe gesture to adjust volume levels is just so much more responsive than on Realme, especially when I need to lower the volume. Okay, moving on, the OnePlus Buds 4 and the Realme Buds Air 7 Pro are actually two of the best budget earbuds that I have tested when it comes to active noise cancellation. They're both using a 3-microphone setup in each earbud, where OnePlus claims that it can get rid of up to 55 decibels of surrounding noise versus 53 decibels on Realme. Now, that 2 decibel difference might not seem like a lot, but what you need to understand is that decibel is actually a logarithmic unit and not a linear one. So to put it simply, the OnePlus Buds 4's ANC is technically around 58% stronger than Realme if you do the math. And even in my real-world testing, I found the OnePlus Buds 4 would just get a little quieter than Realme. Let me give you some examples. So you know those low-frequency noises like the one coming out of your AC unit, city traffic, airplanes flying overhead, or the engine noise of the plane itself? Yeah, these earbuds will get rid of those just fine, which was kind of expected. But where the OnePlus Buds 4 surprised me was how effective it was against mids and high frequency noises as well. That was kind of unexpected. It can be a little subtle sometimes, although compared to the Realme Buds Air 7 Pro, the OnePlus Buds 4 cancels out the sharper, more challenging noises above the 500 Hz spectrum noticeably better. Especially something like human voices, or something sharper like birds chirping, vehicle sirens, or your neighbor's annoying kid crying so freaking loud that you have to put on a pair of noise-cancelling earbuds like these. I even found the transparency mode to be slightly more natural on the OnePlus Buds 4. This one was also a tough call, but I always felt like this guy did a better job at convincing me that I don't have my earbuds on with transparency mode enabled. Whereas the Realme Buds Air 7 Pro sounds a bit damp, congested, and not so natural in comparison. The one silver lining for Realme is that I can choose to amplify human voices after turning on transparency mode in case I want to focus on someone speaking instead of everything else. Okay, next up is the call quality, and guess what? Realme fans finally have something to cheer for, since the Buds Air 7 Pro has slightly better microphone performance during calls I tested them under 3 scenarios basically. One under a fairly quiet room, one under a lot noisier room by playing some ambient noise at one end and having tap water running at the other end, and even one directly against a table fan to simulate wind noise. And in almost every single one of them, my voice sounded a teeny tiny bit better from the Realme Buds Air 7 Pro versus how I would sound a bit bassy, nasally from the Buds 4 in difficult situations. I'd once again like to stress that this is a 19-20 ka fark, but it is what it is. Moving on, the battery life situation on both of these earbuds is practically the same. In my use, I was getting roughly 6 hours worth of listening time on both of them with ANC turned on. Alright, so after all of that, let's dig into the main course, the audio quality. So just a quick reminder that both the OnePlus Buds 4 and the Realme Buds Air 7 Pro have practically the same audio setup. They're both rocking a dual driver setup consisting of an 11mm woofer for bass and a 6mm tweeter to handle trebles alongside dual DACs. Now, this is something that can technically result in less crosstalk noise between drivers and maybe also better tuning. Although, let me just say that having dual DACs won't magically make your earbuds sound any clearer. But other than this, these two also support spatial audio to add some sort of depth and dimension to whatever you're listening to, which is something I've always found useless, to be honest. Plus, they also support high-res LHDC 5.0 on top of regular AAC and SBC codecs, making them capable of transmitting up to 1 Mbps of audio. Anyway, I want to divide the audio section of this review into 3 sections to give you a clearer understanding of how they handle the lows, also known as bass, mids and high frequencies. So in their default tuning, things like soundstage and imaging are mostly the same between them, but I'm more impressed with the warm and often punchy bass response of the OnePlus Buds 4. Now, I don't mean to say that the Buds Air 7 Pro has a flat tuning or something like that, but if you mostly listen to EDM, hip-hop, Bollywood or similar genres of music with a lot of bass in the mix, these OnePlus earbuds will definitely deliver that power a lot better. Like in Travis Scott's Fiend, for example, this hip-hop track is just loaded with bass from start to finish, and listening to it side by side on these two, the OnePlus Buds 4 simply sold that energy of songs so much better to me. Although I've got to say that at high volume, things can quickly turn sideways since that rumble from the sub bass can get pretty bloated here. What surprised me is that the Buds Air 7 Pro actually struggles a bit with mids too. Not by a whole lot, but the timbre of vocals and all sorts of wind instruments have nicer tonal balance, detailed, and they sound more open on the Buds 4 than this guy. I honestly wouldn't have noticed the difference if only I had the Realme Buds with me, but it is what it is. That being said, the Buds Air 7 Pro's treble response is some of the best that I have heard on a pair of budget earbuds. It does not come off as shouty or sibilant, and that sparkle, the clarity of high notes is preserved just how I like it. Whereas most of the fine details are just lost in that thick cloud of bass on the OnePlus Buds 4. Now, this is something I clearly noticed when listening to The Catalyst by Linkin Park. It's an impressively mixed song with a lot of dynamics from Chester's powerful vocals to the distorted guitar riffs and heavy drum beats. And while the Buds Air 7 Pro manages to preserve those subtle notes from the hi-hats throughout the song, that is almost entirely absent on the Buds 4. Now, the good news is that I can tune both of these earbuds in multiple ways, so I can either choose from a couple of other equalizer presets or I can create one on my own, while there's also something called Golden Sound that tunes these earbuds to my exact listening capability. And yes, it really did make both of them sound a lot more open and fuller, although I might have to retake that audio test on the OnePlus Buds 4 a couple of more times because I'm still not getting that open, sparkly trebles here like on the Buds Air 7 Pro. Okay, so let's take one final look at the score sheet, and it seems that the OnePlus Buds 4 is our winner, leading by 2 comfortable points, even after considering that the Realme Buds Air 7 Pro is a better value for money, costing 500 rupees less, and the Buds 4 takes the gold medal. And taking an even closer look at what the categories each of them scored a point in, we can get a better idea about which one is suitable for you. So if you want the best noise cancellation, something with nicer bass and easier set of controls, then go home with the OnePlus Buds 4. Whereas if you want slightly better call quality, if you mostly listen to classical, jazz and similar genres of songs where the bass isn't that important, and more importantly, if you want better bang for your buck, I'd be more than happy to recommend the Realme Buds Air 7 Pro as well. Alright everyone, that was all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Which one would you go for? Do let me know in the comments. And while you're there, please do not forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that notifications icon. Saying this, I'm Pratima and thank you so much for watching.